is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show. Your war room for insider news and draft analysis from deep within the confines of Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco. And now, your host, Kyle Yeomans.
Today is February 18th, 2025, and we are 65 days away from the NFL Draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Welcome into the Draft Show presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. It's Miller time. We've got Zach Wolchuk, Brian Broaddus, Foch Lombardi.
What's up?
Bobby Belt in the back right here with Chris Beam in the back, but Bobby Belt's also in the back.
Yeah, why do I got to be? It feels like you're just identifying me as like second class.
No, you're
like
not.
Just, he's back there somewhere.
I do.
You're about to leave.
I like having.
I am about to leave. I got to cover these coaches, man. I got to figure out who Clayton Adams likes in the draft coming up, man.
That's an important job.
Yeah, that is important. While Bobby's here, though, we don't.
Can I
have
ask
to
Bobby
look
a
at
question?
The pleasure.
Yeah, hit me.
Look at
Please.
the camera the whole time.
I've worked with Bobby like once, but Bobby's my what the league knows guy or whatever. And I got questions about Walter Nolan and Jalen Walker. What does the league say about Kyle? I'm sorry. I
We're
just
going
took this up.
right into
I'm sorry,
Jalen Walker
I'm
again.
You act like this is your podcast, sir, Voch, but go ahead.
Well, we got into the VOCHL. We got into
I thought
a
you were a
fight.
guest.
We got into a fight last show, and I just simply want to know because what I think doesn't matter. What Brian, Zach, and it doesn't matter. Tommy, what does the league think about those two guys?
Who do you want first?
Walker, please, because that's the most recent fight. Please.
What was the fight over?
Whether it's a
where he plays?
linebacker or an
I
edge
don't
rusher.
think-
I think. So I mean that's split. That's definitely split.
He's
Like,
definitely
when,
an edge.
When it comes to Travis Hunter, like a Travis Hunter guy is like. I think pretty much everybody settles on he's more a cornerback. I feel like the league has decided. Some people think he's a receiver. Brian thinks he'd be a really good receiver. I think he could be really great there. But most of the league, I think, has settled on we think he's more of a corner.
Sure.
With Walker, I think there is more of a kind of a split where different teams view him differently. I've heard more people I've talked to think of him as kind of just a blitzing linebacker.
Yeah.
Like a hybrid, like the way that Micah was used more the first couple years rather than
imagine that.
the way he was used last year, where last year he was used pretty much as a realistic edge, where the previous couple years he was more linebacker that was hybrid rusher. I think that's how people view Walker. Nolan, I just think the league thinks so much more highly of Nolan than has been represented here probably.
Right.
I like Walter Nolan. Walter Nolan, though, is people talk about him as when we get done with the combine and we get done with a lot of the stuff, and you start hearing from teams about how athletic he is and freakish he is. I mean, you're gonna start hearing the buzz pick up, but people just think he's an absolute freak, a defensive tackle, and it's the stuff you can't teach. It's the stuff you can't bring out of somebody just by coaching them or whatever else. It's that stuff where it's like, all right, give me that piece of clay because I feel like I can mold it into anything. Whereas other guys, maybe it's like, well, they're missing this or missing that.
More good than bad there, or more bad than good?
You talking about Walker or
Nolan.
Nolan. I think people think that we hate Nolan. And we don't necessarily hate Nolan. We just love Harmon and Williams, and we love Grant and all those guys more than him.
Right.
And we just kind of look at him more of like a late second type of guy, like an early third type of guy. But there are some people that like Nolan in the first, and I'm not on board with
Oh,
that.
I think
Tommy has him in the first. A lot of teams will.
I think this is going to be a very light first round pick here. I think a lot of teams are going to have him. In
I have
first
him as an
round picks.
early second. So I think I'm kind of in between. If he's there at 44, I'm doing cartwheels.
Okay.
But at 12, I think it would be right.
I think Nolan would be like, I think 12 is around where the league would start thinking Nolan's getting.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in play at 12. I mean, it's just the inconsistency. Like, he flashes brilliance, and I know you don't like the word flash, but that's what it is with
It just
him.
scares the hell out of me, Zach. That's it. You flash, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I saw it. But then I'm also taught if you see it one time, you'll see it again. But I don't see it consistently enough with this guy. I think that bothers me.
Laziness at times on
Sometimes,
tape,
yeah.
which
you're gonna
really
tag
ticks
him
me
with
off.
that?
I was
Yeah,
about to
well,
say, that's like.
and I'm not the only
When he
person
gets drafted
watching
here,
that.
you're going to have to answer to that now, you know?
Well, that's just what I saw on tape.
Okay.
So
What if he's
I
a
mean,
pick at
that-
12?
that's what
What
it
if he's
is.
a pick at 12?
Let's just say motor doesn't always run hot.
Yeah.
You got to find your substitute words.
There's times
About to
where
say,
the motor
Agnes,
is
man.
really hot.
Sure.
You know, there's times where it is, but then there's other times it's like, what's going on with this play?
Yeah.
Where it doesn't seem like you're as engaged as you were, say, a series.
Oh, no,
before.
you're not wrong, bro. You're doing good.
But TJ Sanders, like, it's weird to me. There's like a hive that loves TJ Sanders.
Yeah.
To me, if you love TJ Sanders, I don't get why you wouldn't love Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
Because I see the same thing, and TJ Sanders will wear down over the course of a game.
I'm not as high on Sanders neither. Yeah.
I mean, if you talk about, like, Brian, you mentioned you don't see it consistently enough with Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
the guy that I think of when you talk about freakish athlete and you didn't see it consistently, but it did come together when he got to the NFL level, is a guy like Milton Williams, who just stood out in the Super Bowl big time. Now, Milton Williams was not a first-round pick. He was like a third. But Milton Williams was an absolute freak at the defensive tackle position. I think Nolan's similar. He's just a little bigger.
Well, and Nolan did it against better competition throughout as well. I mean, Milton Williams was playing in Conference USA. He was at Louisiana
he was good
on the way.
Okay, let me ask you this about Nolan.
Yes, sir.
Is this a problem? And is this a problem? Because I know Kyle is he did a great job of setting this show up today.
Right.
We're going to talk about defensive linemen. So I know he's going to get there.
Yep.
Right.
Are we running into a problem with these effort defensive tackles or edges because they play in rotating systems and we don't see them every play?
Deion Walker's another guy like that.
I watched Tennessee. I watched Mississippi. I watched South Carolina. It's a rotating system, and do you get a feel for the player in a rotating system like some of these teams that might have guys that play the majority of the series?
I feel you, but I never want to give a guy a reason to loaf. You know what I'm saying? So we were just talking about Walker.
It's a lot to hit. He's saying that loaf. He called him a loaf.
We were just mentioning
Hey, you say
Walker,
how you
right?
feel on this show.
Deion Walker.
I'll stand by it.
Deion Walker has some aggressive loafs.
Yeah.
Like I'm standing up and my feet aren't even moving. And it's like I'm just keeping you up. I'm like, damn, Deion Walker, are you that tired? I don't want nobody to be that tired. And in my mind, 60 plays in college might be 30 plays in the league. You know what I'm saying? So I never want to see, like, whether you're rotating or not. Our guy, Norman Lott, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't really see him slowing down that much.
No, that's a good point.
Derek Harmon, I don't see Derek Harmon slowing down too
in a
much.
rotating system, too.
So I never want to see a guy slow down, no matter, if they get 60, 30, or 12 snaps.
One of the things that I always look at whenever you've got a guy like Nolan, if you're wondering, okay, is the motor always there or anything else? I tend to go back and I go like, all right, who did I describe this way in the past? Like, let me go back, look the notes, see who did I describe similarly, and how consistently did that look like it got fixed at the next level, or how consistently was like, well, that was a problem. So, like, I think whenever I think of motor or taking plays off, like there are times you saw that with Jalen Carter when he was at Georgia. Yeah, that has worked out.
Fair.
There are other times where I remember thinking that a lot about Jerry Tillery when he was at Notre Dame, and Jerry Tillery did not work out. And so,
there you go.
I think it's whenever those kind of things crop up, it's important to look back and go, okay, who did I describe like this in the past, and how did that actually flesh out at the NFL level?
But when you're looking at Walter Nolan and you're seeing the physical traits, I don't know if I'm looking at him and saying Jalen Carter. I'm looking at him and I'm saying Tillery more than that. So if you're leaning one way or the other, Jalen Carter was not a 3 or 4 down lineman in college.
But he played a rotating system.
But he played in a rotating system. When you have Walker Nolan playing in that same rotating system, I don't necessarily look at him. He's a freak, don't get me wrong, but I don't look at him as like an elite level player like a Jalen Carter was. I just don't see that same level.
If you're truly like great, it lends you some room to loaf a little bit.
Somewhat.
But when you're not loafing, you're solid good, but you're not super elite, then that kind of drops you down the board a little bit. That what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of.
Jalen Carter.
I don't know if I hate.
Like you'll see Walter.
You could be great
at
loaf. Is that what we're saying here?
I don't know if I like that.
I disagree. I don't agree. But Jalen Carter was the best player that whole draft.
Yeah, right.
And that
was
whole
far and
draft.
away. Yeah.
I can at least look at Nolan and be like, all right, there's at least 4 guys that's like
Carter
that.
would play for 2 snaps, but those 2 snaps he would absolutely demolish the line.
You're talking about a game record that's on a totally different level
Walter
than what we're
Nolan
talking about with Walter Nolan.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And even if he did, it was one play here or one play there. It wasn't every single time he was on the field. You would see him take plays off, whereas Carter was just standing on the sideline.
Sure.
What consistently, does taking plays off or looking like the motor doesn't run as hot, does that matter more at certain positions than it does others? Yeah, I know we do air quotes around here. Does that look like it matters more than it does?
Something in the building?
does that matter more? Like, for instance, I will occasionally go, all right, if a defensive lineman's getting beat up a little, obviously I want the motor to run hot, but I feel like I see that with a lot of guys, over the years, where it's like maybe they're getting beat up and it's just like, all right, I shouldn't, but I'm worn down. I'm not in an NFL strength program or a conditioning program. And I kind of wonder, all right, are they just getting worn down by the battle? And is that something that can be fixed at the next level if you get to a better conditioning program or a strength program?
You're not wrong, but it's just I'm comparing Nolan to 3 other people that don't take plays.
And I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying, is that question, like, how do you answer that question of, is it more important at some positions to do you need to see that effort all the time at this position more than this one? Or
well, when you're playing corner and safety, you get exposed if you take a play off.
Correct.
Yeah.
Whereas defensive tackle, you can kind of hide in the muddiness.
Sure, if the
line.
play's not going your way. I do wonder because, like you said, ball of clay that you can mold.
Mm-hmm.
That to me that's scary. And I think scouts saw that with Dallas Turner a year ago. Like, oh my gosh, this guy's got all the traits. He's twitchy as hell. You don't see the production on tape.
Turner got accused of the taking plays off a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like him. I think Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. Like physically, this is what you want in a guy at that position. But do I see the production down in, down out? No. And I think you can get in a lot of trouble as a scout thinking like, oh my gosh, I love the intangibles. I love the athleticism. Same thing as a position coach. Bring him into my system. I can mold them.
Kerry Collins. Oh, he's got a hitch. Oh, I could fix the hitch. 15 years later,
if I
still
see
got a hitch.
production and I see it consistently, I think that's going to translate better than the mold of clay that I'm hoping that I can develop.
But we are talking about pick 12 in a thinner class.
Yeah.
Like we're not talking about picking number 2 and saying, give me the mold, like the clay. You're talking about a draft where some people may have 11 first-round picks on their, and so you're sitting there right on the edge, and you go, well, this is the guy that if I can put him together, he can be just as good potentially as some of these guys at the top of the draft.
That scares the hell out of me, Bobby.
It does.
That scares the hell out of me that I'm hoping that this guy is going to.
Tyler Smith scared the hell out of a lot of people.
It's true. Because that's another guy you saw it, like physically.
You saw all the traits and said,
My
that's
gosh.
clay, though. I don't know.
The thing that scared people
Tyler
about
Smith
Tyler
wasn't
was the
really a
hand.
loafer,
It
though.
was the tech. It was
Yeah.
the technique.
Right.
That's what scared people.
Right. It wasn't the effort.
It wasn't the effort.
But it was
penalties.
But it was
Penalties, too.
But it was skill
It was
set.
his hands.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah,
but skill
absolutely.
set was there, and you said, what kind of a student is he? Same sort of thing I think still exists with Nolan. I think Nolan, you go, skill set's there. If the Cowboys were to pick Nolan at 12, given their history of finding guys that they know were good students, like a Tyler Smith or something like that, I'm going to trust they've got a pretty good read on he takes to coaching pretty well, and they feel good about that. So,
Did they hit that with Mozzie Smith?
you know what? I think
He might not like football.
And that's part of the question you got to hit with.
That's what you got to
I
ask,
agree
and
with
that's
you, by
a
the way.
hard thing to scout.
I
completely
think
agree with you. Usually they've gotten the right type of person and the right type of background, but they have missed on it before.
Right.
Recently.
And I think it also matters. Like, I think Jeff Skinnia, who's no longer here, obviously, I think Jeff Skinnia did a great job helping Mozzie
He did
Smith
a great.
pick his
You're
head back
absolutely
up.
right. You're right.
And that's so. I think it also matters of like who's reaching them.
Yeah.
And I think that this coaching staff, we've heard it from Brian Schottenheimer. We're about to go hear it in this hallway. It's going to be very much about culture and effort and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to pick him, I can't imagine that room back there wouldn't be comfortable with. We can get it out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think, right?
That scares Brian.
Let's just say this, right?
That scares the hell out of me. I don't think you can miss in the first round.
I don't
You're taking
either,
a guy
man.
that
I
we
mean,
got, we got effort questions with.
Zach,
Yeah.
let me ask you this, right? This coaching staff or this team or whatever, right? They took a linebacker that wasn't really a pass rusher and they made him a pass rusher. And they took a Tyler Smith that we didn't think would be a great left tackle and they developed him and he was able to play some left tackle, right? So maybe you know, they had some confidence that they could take raw players and like kind of fix them.
Sure.
So you miss on a Mozzie and we're not clear about Tyler Guyton just yet.
Yeah.
Do you think that they switch back to, all right, let me look for day one guys that could possibly play now because the last two project type dudes didn't work for me? That makes sense?
Yes. Yes, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Bobby, you know these scouts better than anybody.
What they thinking, Bobby?
Are they? No. Are they?
What they thinking?
Are they under pressure? Are they under pressure after what's happened with the last two picks?
That's a much better way to say what I just said.
Look, I mean, I think this whole organization was under pressure. Everybody was on expiring deals, basically. That included a lot of the scouting staff. So, look, I think that there is a unique pressure from the sense that this team doesn't generally play in free agent water, so you feel like there's no margin for error. You feel like we got to hit every pick in the top 4. Can't have any and I mean the numbers just say the math says that's not going to always happen. You're going to miss guys, and there's a lot of pressure in that sense. But I think it's something that it's a pressure they welcome. Like I think that's something they like performing under that. All right, let's go find the guy. Let's go knock this out. But yeah, it's definitely a big ask for those guys, and I think. Like I said, a lot of this with these new coaches and the way that Will McClay obviously sets it up to, hey, let's interact personnel staff with the assistant coaches, talk about what you guys like, and let's go let our guys get to work. I think this is right here is a critical window for that.
I will tell you this, though, from what I learned about the Surtain Horn draft, was that the scouts were really on Surtain, and the coaches were going with Horn.
Yep.
And it's because the scouts felt better about the player. They felt better about the consistency of the player. They felt about what he could develop as. Not that they didn't like Horn, but they were in a mode where they're like, this guy's a gambler, a risk taker, that kind of.
Yep.
Give us the solid. Give us the guy at that spot. And to me, it looks like their attitude was the right way. And I wonder if that's going to stay true to this draft with so much like murkiness and muddiness on the top of this board.
I will say this just before I go down and see the assistant coaches. I know that in the past, I don't know about it, but just talking to scouts around the league, not just here in Dallas, in general, scouts, I think, feel like the safe player is typically the one, because I've asked this question to people before. The safe player is typically a player coaches want, because they feel like their job is more on the line immediately every year than personnel department does. Like personnel department feels like they're process oriented and they're grabbing a talent and they're looking 3 years out. Whereas a coach who's, Mike McCarthy last year in a contract year maybe felt like, get me somebody who can help me now. Like I need now. I don't need a project guy. Whereas a scout may say, or personnel department may say, yeah, but this guy's going to be better in 3 years and I can be patient with that. And so typically I think it's been reversed in that situation you're talking about there with Horn and Surtain, obviously. But typically I think in my experience across the league, not just here in Dallas, I think a lot more scouts are willing to say, let's get the talent and let's trust our coaches to bring it out of them.
Oh, that's super interesting. The whole puzzle piece all put together like that. Bobby, we appreciate it as always.
Thanks. Love you all.
Because here it's one of those things where when we've heard some misses, and look, there's a lot that is unknown that I have no idea about, but it seems like when they trust the scouting department, there's success.
Yeah.
When you start having the coach's influence, that's when maybe you start to get in some trouble.
Is where Schottenheimer needs to be smart. This is where he needs to step up and tell these coaches, like, listen, this first year, these guys are going to pick players for us and go from there. Bill Parcells did the exact same thing when he came in, and he said, I'm going to evaluate every one of you. I'm going to let you pick this team. There was some fight about Terrence Newman, and Larry Lacewell said, listen, Bill, we don't draft this kid. We don't have a corner on this team that could play. Yeah. And so Bill trusts the scouts. I think Brian Schottenheimer would be very smart to take a page out of that book and do that.
It seems like he would trend that direction. Just knowing, and of course, you can't tell the future, but just knowing how he's run things from an offensive coordinator standpoint in the past and the type of person that he is, I think he does see that as a benefit for him, which would be a good thing for everybody involved. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we've got some Twitter on the 20. A lot of questions around that defensive tackle spot and defensive line in general, as Brian alluded to earlier. I want to hit maybe the 44, mid-70s. When can the Cowboys start talking about defensive line? Maybe as early as 12. We'll answer some of your questions with Twitter on the 20 right after this.
Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're maxing out overhead presses, pushing through chest flies, or being the hero your golden retriever needs to carry them over that scary bridge, Smoothie King has the fuel to help you go all out. Build muscle and boost your recovery with 45 grams of protein, 0 grams of added sugar, and delicious customizable ingredients in the Gladiator Smoothie. Available in chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. Only at Smoothie King.
Hi, Drew Pearson, former Dallas Cowboy and now Pro Football Hall of Famer here. If you're struggling with your vision and tired of those contacts and glasses, don't throw a Hail Mary. Go where I went. Laser Care Eye Center, the official LASIK partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Drew, thank you so much for trusting us with your vision correction procedure. At Laser Care Eye Center, we offer 6 different vision correction procedures to help patients see.
Check them out at dfweyes.com. Tell them Drew sent you. Hood, hood.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Dallas Cowboys Nation, Dallas Cowboys United is presented by Globe Life. Now the exclusive on the Dallas Cowboys app. Join the official fan club today. Receive access to all new Cowboys drops feature, team news, and pre-sale access. All sorts of fan and kid incentives as well. Download the app now to join. I don't like that read. I don't know why. I just don't like that read.
Not a fan?
That's the second time I've flubbed it, but it's Dallas Cowboys United. I'm going to get on the Douglas. We're going to rewrite that.
I was, as you were reading it, I just was blessed that I didn't have to read.
Dude,
that would have been a disaster.
We're going to talk to whoever wrote that one. All right. Back alongside Zach Wolchuk, Brian Broaddus, Vach Lombardi. I'm Kyle Yeomans with Chris Beam in the back. Special thanks to Bobby Belt for stopping by and opening the show. He's now doing some work with the assistant coaches are talking right now on the other side of the building. So when we get done, we'll head over there as well. But before that, we've got to talk to Cowboys Nation because it's time for some Twitter on the 20. That's my favorite drop we've ever had. That's the best one possible. All right. Jeffrey Hendricks.
You almost said Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, I almost said it. Jeffrey Hendricks.
Hey, Joe.
Says you have to finish the first 3 rounds without one of these positions. Which one are you most okay leaving without? Here are your options. Running back, wide receiver, defensive line, offensive line. Which one are you leaving out? Out of the first 3 rounds, you're going all the way to round 5 without one of those spots where you feel like you can.
Offensive line for me.
That.
I agree. I'm going to go offensive line as well because I do think you've got enough depth right now with Awesome Richards, guys like hopefully Brock Hoffman's still in the fold.
That wasn't the first name I thought would come out of you.
He's an Awesome Richards fan.
I'm an Awesome Richards fan. I am. I think Awesome Richards should be allowed to compete at left tackle.
You're putting him at left.
Yep, absolutely.
Where are you putting
maybe right tackle.
Okay, where's your right tackle going?
Who knows? I think we're competing, and the loser's your backup swing tackle. Because I think all 3 are going to end up playing throughout the course of the season.
Okay.
You know, injuries are a thing in the National Football League. It's hard to make it through 17 games. So I think having 3 guys
you said that with some confidence.
Extremely important. So I'm going Awesome Richards. I love Brock Hoffman and the depth that he's able to provide you. I think you've got to have a running back. You've got to have a wide receiver to complement CeeDee Lamb. And defensive line, can we line up and play today? I'm not so sure.
Vach, what do you think?
Man, running back is probably going to be very plentiful in the 5th round. I know people don't want to hear that. I know people would rather get that studly running back first. I just don't want to write off because I might like an offensive lineman early. Like the board may force me to take an offensive lineman early or take a D lineman early. I think you have to go wide receiver because it's really an emergency there. I think if you force me to decide between a 5th round running back,
that's what he's trying to do,
or a 5th round tackle. I think the running backs there would be better than the tackle.
I'm going to name off some 4-5s here that I've got for you, okay? Let's play this game a little bit.
What you got?
Running back. Let's go with Taj Brooks, Texas Tech. Jarquez Hunter from Auburn.
A big fan of Hunter's.
Yeah, I like him a lot. DJ Giddens, Kansas State. Damian Martinez, Miami. Jadon Blue, Texas. Okay, let's go to wide receiver.
Okay,
Kyle, let's have a conversation.
Brooks,
I knew this.
Let's have a conversation.
I knew this was about to happen.
Let's have a conversation.
Let's talk about it.
Let's say you miss out on running backs.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Let's just
all
say
together.
Round 1, 2, and 3, you miss out.
Yeah.
Can a combination of Scatterbo and Blue work for you?
Heck yes,
absolutely.
Can that combination work for you? Like, let's just say
you're double dipping in the 5th at running back.
If you don't take 1, 2, and 3, you might have to.
I'd be okay with that.
Right? So
I like some of those names that are there. Jarquez Hunter from Auburn. I know you and I are both very high.
You're talking about like 5th round guys. I have some of those guys higher than that.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I'm just assuming like it's gonna look like Royce Freeman, Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lipke, DJ Giddens, and
Royce Freeman,
Jaden Blue. I think that's a cool setup of guys. It's not Ashton Genty. It's not Hampton and Johnson or anything like that. But I think you can live with those running backs. I don't want to live in this world where I got to take a wide receiver in the 5th or I got to take a D tackle in the 5th. I'm looking at tackle in the third round or something like that. I think that's that last. I love what I'm getting at tackle. When you get to fifth round tackles, you may be a cool rotational tackle guy by the time you get to that point. And I really want to upgrade tackle. So I'm going to run it back late.
By taking, say these two were available, if it was Blue and Smith from SMU, with the way they catch the ball, is that better than taking a fifth round wide receiver?
Yes, they would be better than my fifth-round wide receiver options.
Because the way they catch the ball.
Yes.
The way that they play in the passing game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, is that – you're taking a fifth-round wide receiver. This guy could very well be what you're playing with.
Here are some names that I've got there. I've got Nick Nash,
Love Nick Nash.
Nash,
from San Jose State, Keandre Lambert-Smith from Auburn,
big body,
Ricky White from UNLV, Theo Weiss from Missouri, just to name a few names.
I think none of those guys play for you. I agree. I don't think they line up day one and play for you. But I think either of those running backs you named, I think
would probably play for you.
I agree.
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's interesting because, but you would still, if at 12, Ashton Genty's there at 12, you would still entertain that option.
Yeah. I'm taking Genty at 12.
So even then, there's a chance that you still don't go with that because of how special of a prospect he becomes.
You just can't pass on that guy. And I see a lot of people on the internet, coworkers, you know what I'm saying, that are just hating the idea of Genty at 12. Don't overthink the best guy there. Don't overthink the best guy there. You know what I'm saying?
So your answer is running back on the question that was at hand.
I would take the running back. I wouldn't take the running back over McMillan if he's there or something like that. Sure. But most likely he's going to be the best dude on the board. He's going to be the last elite guy on the board. I'm taking Genty.
But if he's not there, you're okay with waiting on running back until the 5th.
I would then like a running back
with the names you said, yeah. But with the names, but if those names are not there, then no, I'm not okay with that.
Where's the run? Where's the big wipeout running back run?
It's going to go from 36 to 43.
Yeah, I think it's going to be happening anywhere
right in front of us.
From 20 to 44.
I think you're on to something. I do, and maybe I know Jeff Kavanaugh and I had this discussion. He doesn't think the run that it's going to happen. There's going to be somebody there like a Henderson or one of these guys, Blue, Smith. They're going to be there in the third round to get. But I tell you what, I feel a lot better about the third round now after watching Blue and Smith both play.
Yeah.
I'd feel a lot better that I those guys better than what Neal at Kansas. If you look at me,
I love Devin Neal
from Auburn. I know Giddings. I know Vach loves Giddings, and he's probably. Do you love him as well?
Yeah, I like both those Kansas Neal, and then Giddings from Kansas State as well.
This thing is this thing's going to stretch for you then.
Brian don't like Giddings because he's slow, right, Brian? Tell the people.
I don't think Giddings is fast. No, I don't like him for that reason. Yes,
I like Neal because he's got some versatility. You talk about guys that can catch out of the backfield. Yep. He reminds me of Tony Pollard, but they just didn't split him out wide at Kansas. Tony Pollard, half of his snaps at Memphis were out wide. I see a similar type of build there. All right, Zach on Twitter says, is there a player that over the last 2 drafts, if they step up big this year, you could ensure that they step up big, that would give you peace to lower the priority on some of these other spots? Is there one guy over the last 2 drafts that you could place that on?
Just one guy?
Just one guy.
I would love for Tyler Guyton to be what everybody thought he was.
Okay.
I would love, because now I ain't.
Now you don't have to do that.
Now I'm not worrying about tackle at all. If he shows up and is a dude and y'all get to point y'all finger and laugh at me like, Vash, look at Tyler Guyton, I would love it. I would love it to pieces. I just don't know if that's going to be a thing.
Mozzie Smith for me, man.
Still there.
Yeah, if Mozzie Smith were to play big-time ball, and that'd make me feel so much better about this defensive tackle room, because right now I'm looking at 1s and 3s big time.
Yeah.
Man, you could go Jalen Tolbert, but he's in the last year of his deal. I'd go Ryan Flanoy. You need somebody that can step up in that receiver room. Because right now, I mean, we're who's your complement to CeeDee Lamb? I mean, Tolbert, you're going into year 4 now, and he hasn't proven to be consistent.
I say Turpin.
So, I mean, is it Flanoy? Is it a guy that I think we all like and can see the potential and the upside there? I'd love that. It makes me feel better about if we were going to skip on a position group and we don't go wide receiver, I'd feel much better about that.
Panel, what do y'all think the plan is with Mingo? What's the plan with him? Do y'all think that was just a dice roll? Or do you think that they really have an idea that he's going to be a part of this thing moving forward?
I don't think they spend a 4th-round pick if they didn't expect him to be in the thought process moving forward. I hope they have a plan. I mean, that's my.
I got a hard time.
I know.
Trying to see where you fit.
I know. Hope is not a strategy, but it apparently is here whenever it comes to Johnson.
I think their plan is he's going to be one of your top 3 receivers this year. Why else are you giving up a 4th-round pick for?
That's what I'm saying.
Right. So I agree.
I'll tell you why they gave up a 4th-round pick, but I'm in their building. I don't want to talk bad about these people in their building on their microphone that they paid for. But I just don't see where he fits in, where he plays.
Well, the thing about him is he's from a previous regime, except for the head coach was on the staff. So the head coach had better have the plan, because everybody else coming in here, receivers coach is asking me, okay, tell me why we have this guy here. Why is this guy on our football team? So head coach is going to have to be the guy to sell that one.
This is from Harry on Twitter.
What up, Harry?
With Trayvon Diggs' injury and Jay Lu's uncertainty entering unrestricted free agency, why isn't corner a talking point at 12 or 40?
I know I've talked about it a bunch.
We have talked about it a little bit. I know we've hit that name up at the top a bunch.
The thought about it is, let me ask you guys this, not that I would be happy about it, but I'd understand it. If Will Johnson from Michigan got there to 12, would you take him?
It depends on who else is on the board, but let's say
he's your best corner.
Best corner?
Yeah.
That's just not. I'll just pick something else.
I would love to trade back in that scenario, but you know what? I'm not going to wimp it. I'll say yes.
How about you, Wolchuk?
No, I wouldn't.
See, this is what scares me. That's another spot that scares me. And I don't know if we're right or wrong about this guy. I don't know that.
About Johnson specifically?
Yeah, because I felt like, and Vach and I we've been tracking this with our show for really, the better part of several months here. And he started off as a top 3 guy, and now you're starting to see him go down and down and down. And I wonder if the league thinks about him the same way that we've all kind of thought about that. That one would scare me a little bit. Even I might even consider like another guy like, I wonder if a guy like Barron would be there. I would take Barron over him.
I have Barron above Johnson. So if Barron's there, I would take Johnson. But you were saying highest rated corner?
If he was, I mean, I wonder if they would like Barron, they would like Johnson more than Barron.
Do you think that they would like Johnson more than the wide receivers on the board?
No.
Like Golden and Abuka?
Which wide receiver?
Like Golden and Abuka?
All of them. Burden, Golden, Abuka, of course, McMillan. But like those 4 wide receivers, I have them over Johnson. But do you think that Dallas thinks that way?
I think it's possible that they do like Will Johnson a lot.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
The conversations I've had, I think they do like it.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the frame for it.
But they like the receivers too. Don't get me wrong.
No.
If the right receiver is there and Ashton Jeanty is not, then I think you're going to pick a receiver over Will Johnson. I could see a very realistic conversation. We're talking Will Johnson after the 12th pick.
What's the last receiver you would take over him?
Burden. Burden, Missouri.
Burden, Abuka, Golden?
No.
We have them ranked a little different, but I have all those guys over Johnson.
See, I don't have Abuka and Golden over Johnson.
I do.
But I like Johnson a little bit more than I think most people do.
No, that's fine.
I got McMillan, Hunter, Abuka, Burden, Golden. Yeah, those are the guys that I'd consider all over Will Johnson.
I would hope.
And I could be losing my mind. Who knows?
I would hope.
You ain't losing nothing, Zach. You're right. Go ahead.
I would hope that they would take that wide receiver over him if that was the case. But to be honest with you, the question is very good there because we don't know what's going to happen with Diggs. I mean, his rehab carried all the way in through training camp.
Yep.
You don't know how that's going to play out and stuff like that.
He may not be ready for week 1.
Yeah.
And if you're playing without him week 1, what injury history?
See, you needed Carson.
Room?
You needed Carson to play really well. Is what you needed last year. You needed to show he could be in. And hopefully, if you talk about a guy that needs a jump, Carson's a guy.
Alan Carson would be huge.
Carson needs a jump.
I think Ravel's the sleeper for me. Like if he's a guy that clears medically, I think Ravel's better than Johnson, and they're the same size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another medical flag, though.
Ravel is really good.
I love him.
Now,
he was a top 3 corner prior to the injury.
Sure.
He was up there in the same conversation with Will Johnson.
Brian.
Out of East Carolina, by the way.
Brian, please, let me ask you this. So, where do you think the better value at corner is, right? Like Johnson at 12, we can have a conversation about, whether we like it or not, but just value-wise, right? Or are you looking at day 2, right? Like, we looking at Morrison now. We're looking at Amos or Thomas.
Porter.
Noah Williams. We had that conversation about him. Noah Williams in the third, just in my personal opinion, I think that's much better value.
If you haven't watched Noah Williams play from California,
he's a dude.
Please do. You'll thank us later for this one. I kind of feel like, though, to me, that I have a feeling all those corners are going to be gone. Maybe those second-round corners that you and I were talking about.
Sure.
Thomas from Florida State, Amos,
Hairston from Kentucky.
I think that all those long, rangy corners that can run a little bit are all going to be gone here. People struggling to find corners in this league.
I kind of like a couple deficient guys, like the skinny Kobe Bryant from Kansas. I love him.
Melo Dyson.
I love him. Melo also. And
they get the ball, man.
They do.
And Jabbar Muhammad.
And then I'll fight for Parrish from K-State. I know he's shorter at 5'10", but I love his demeanor, man.
How much K-State film do you watch? Cooper Beebe.
He's the general manager.
K-State's pumping out some studs. I'm just saying.
How many Big 12 titles have they won?
They should have won one this year. It was
don't let
a
him talk to
winning
you like
season
that.
for
But
K-State,
don't you dare let him talk to you.
Hey, how many Big 12 titles did Patrick Mahomes win in college? Is he the best quarterback in the NFL?
He is.
So I don't think that matters, right? If the players
how many
are good,
other Texas
draft
Tech
the
players have been having great careers in the NFL?
Fight back, Zach.
Mahomes would be the one. And Taj Brooks is about to be another one. Okay. Let's go, baby.
I do like Taj Brooks.
I love me some Taj Brooks.
All right, we got to take our
He's the Chris
break.
Carson of this draft.
Yeah. Oh.
I think that's a good comp for Taj Brooks. Chris Carson.
Okay.
Oklahoma State.
All right. I'm here for it. All right. When we come back here on the draft show, I got a game I want to play, guys. I want to try and tab. Let's make some predictions here. Mm-hmm. Who's going to be an All-Pro? Who's going to be a multi-Pro Bowler? And who's going to be a 10-year starter? I'll explain it a little bit more when we get back with more of the draft show right after this.
I'm Darren Woodson, former Dallas Cowboy player and Super Bowl champion. When I played in the NFL at a high level, I relied on my vision to see the field. As I started getting older, I noticed my vision wasn't as good, and I was getting frustrated from wearing my glasses all day. I went to Laser Care Eye Center, and Dr. G talked about all the options. Thanks to technology and Laser Care Eye Center, I can see near, far, and between. Don't fumble your vision any longer. Visit them at dfweyes.com and tell them Darren sent you. They got me back on my game.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're maxing out overhead presses, pushing through chest flies, or being the hero your golden retriever needs to carry them over that scary bridge, Smoothie King has the fuel to help you go all out. Build muscle and boost your recovery with 45 grams of protein, 0 grams of added sugar, and delicious customizable ingredients in the Gladiator Smoothie. Available in chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. Only at Smoothie King.
How about them Cowboys? Or how about them Tyson Cowboys Nuggets? As we cheer for the stars on the field, we love that we've also got some stars on our plate, thanks to Tyson brand star-shaped Cowboys Nuggets. That, along with all our other favorite Tyson Foods products, sure make game day special. Score some delicious Tyson Cowboys Nuggets and become a game day star, just like our Cowboys. As you enjoy your stars on and off the plate, remember, tailgates and game day have always been Tyson.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
The Weeknd is bringing the After Hours Till Dawn Stadium Tour to AT&T Stadium on August 27th and 28th. Catch this all-new show in support of the full album trilogy with Playboy Carti and special guest Mike Dean. Get your tickets today at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing partner of AT&T Stadium. Big fan of The Weeknd, Brian? Like the
I like The Weeknd.
Yeah, he's solid. He
I get a lot done on the weekend.
Yeah. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right?
Yeah, I get a lot done.
Yeah, we had a 3-day weekend.
Oh, the performer.
Week. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know.
Super Bowl halftime?
That was like 5 years ago already.
Was that far?
I like the Weekend much.
Wow, that was in
much
Tampa.
better.
That was like the
old
2021.
weekend.
Was that Chiefs
weekend.
Bucks?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Isn't that wild?
Time is flying.
Tom Brady won that Super Bowl.
He sure did. He sure did.
Back here with Zach Wolchuk, Brian Broaddus, Foch Lombardi with Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans. I got a game that we want to play a little bit here, all right? So listen closely for those at home so you can keep up. I've got 3 tiers of players. We're talking ceiling here. This could be any position across the board in the NFL draft. I want these guys to pick up their crystal ball and look into the future. I want you to tell me one player in each of these levels. All-Pro, so good enough to make the All-Pro list at least once throughout their career. He's going to be an All-Pro, no doubt about it in your mind. An example of this would be Ashton Jeanty. He might be the best running back in the league one day. Who cares?
Cooper Beebe last year.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
K-State.
Multi-time Pro Bowler, somebody that's going to lead the way at their position, but maybe not the best at their position, enough to go to multiple Pro Bowls throughout their career. Mike Green could be an example. He may not be the best edge rusher in football, but he's going to be damn good, and he's going to make a lot of noise. Tyler Booker would be a 10-year starter opportunity, right? Like somebody that's not going to be a Pro Bowler or anything like that, but he's going to be a great player across the board. So taking those examples out of the occasion there, I just wanted to kind of outline it for those that might be listening. What are your all-pro, multi-Pro Bowlers, and 10-year starters look like? We'll start with all-pros. Vach.
Tyler Booker's going to be fantastic, by the way. So.
Okay, I just wanted to use an example. That's
all pros, man. I'll go Andrew Makuba, the safety from Texas.
That's a good one.
He's my safety one, and a lot of people ain't gonna fool with that, but they'll be all right.
I love that.
There's not a lot of free safeties you can just point at in the league and be like, oh, he's the best. Free safeties like 1, 2, or 3 of them, and he's the dude that gets picks. And if you're a free safety that can be a ball hawk and get picks, I got a ton of faith in you. So I have a crystal ball. I'm saying that he's gonna be one of the best free safeties in the whole game ever.
Ooh, all right. What about you, Brian?
Mason Graham, I think, is going to be one of these guys. When you start to talk about with these defensive tackles, how active, he's going to find ways to make plays along the line of scrimmage. He's going to make plays behind the line of scrimmage. He's going to make plays outside the tackle box. He's also going to get you sacks and pressures, too. Mason Graham is going to be a multiple all-pro player for you in the NFL.
Nice.
You know what? I'll go, I don't want to go low-hanging fruit here. Give me Tyler Warren, Penn State, tight end. I'm an advocate for Tyler Warren. I am. I mean, he holds Penn State tight end records for receptions. Only Big Ten tight end with 4+ rushing touchdowns. This is a guy that can just do everything for you. And I think you saw the impact that Brock Bowers was able to have. Now, he's different. Like, it doesn't look the same. Yeah. The production can be the same. Brock Bowers is a little bit more smooth, quicker, route running's a little bit more clean. I totally get the clunkiness factor, right? That's why you get comps for Gronk when it comes to Tyler Warren. But the dude's just productive. He gets the game. He understands finding holes in zone coverage, being able to get open. I think the blocking is good enough. I think he can improve there, but he's a very willing blocker. You see him line up at fullback sometimes and lead the way there. So to me, I mean, anybody not named Travis Hunter or Ashton Jeanty in this draft, I'm betting on Tyler Warren to be an absolute stud.
That's a really good one. I'll put Teteroa McMillan. That might be low-hanging fruit. There's a chance he's a top 5 pick. I certainly have him as a top 5 player in this draft. I've said it before on the show. I think he's Mike Evans 2.0. I really do.
I love it.
I think the frame,
I agree 100%.
The size, the versatility, the route running, I mean, all of it, the deep threat ability. He's super consistent at all 3 levels. Give this guy the football. Let him make some plays. Teteroa McMillan would be my for sure bet at all-pro moving forward. If he's there at 12, I would 100% take that player. All right, let's go the other direction here. Let's go with Pro Bowler, multi-Pro Bowler. Who's on the list for that one?
I think Emeka Egbuka. This is a dude, I just love his build, his size. Played primarily in the slot this past year, but he's a tremendous blocker. You know, he's a guy that I think you see what Jordan Addison's done with the Minnesota Vikings. He can come, and he's always had to play second fiddle to whoever it was. It was a JSN. Last year, 2 years ago, it was Marvin Harrison Jr. Last year, it's Jeremiah Smith. Like, this guy doesn't care, right? He's a selfless type of player, strong body control. Love the dude overall. He runs terrific routes. There's not a whole lot to knock when it comes to Egbuka. He's one of the most clean players in this draft. Is he ever going to be an all-pro? I don't know, but I do think he's going to be one of the better wide receivers to come out of this draft.
That's a good spot for him, ceiling-wise.
Benjamin Morris, the corner from Notre Dame, I think is going to be a guy when if the injury things check out about him. I mean, he's had a couple of things where he's dealt with hips, but at 6 foot, 190 pounds, this kid is super competitive. The lateral quickness, everything about him is outstanding. He plays with a fluid element to his game. His back pedal is controlled and all that. He's able to kind of adjust in routes and stuff like that. I could see somebody taking him and just plugging him right in. He is so competitive in the way he plays. The only thing maybe holding him back might be the injury stuff, but this guy's a hell of a football player.
Those hips, man.
I will go with Donovan Jackson.
Yeah, I love that.
Ohio State.
Good pick.
Right? Lines up, whoops folk, move folk, and that's my favorite kind of guard, just in case y'all ain't know.
He's the best offensive lineman in the draft.
Hey, man. Don't just be saying stuff like that.
He is.
Well, why didn't you have him in your
All Pro? Or
I've talked about him in a couple other platforms. I wanted to change it up.
I think him having the ability to play guard and tackle will bode well for those voters that he played guard and then he went to go play tackle. They love stories and storylines and things like that. Donovan Jackson's a guy that's great for it, so he'll be a Pro Bowler at some point.
I love that pick.
That's a good one. I'll go with Jahad Campbell, Alabama linebacker, to be a Pro Bowler. Again, he's a guy that's going to control your defense. He'll probably wear a green dot pretty early in his career. You're going to see him come in and immediately make an impact. But I think he still has room to grow into that spot. And he may make an all-pro list at some point, but I think his ceiling is more so like you think about what Zach Bond did to the Eagles this past year. I'm not comparing the two players, but just think about the impact in the middle of a defense. He could be a 100-tackle guy a year. I think that would get him to a Pro Bowl or two down the line. Mm-hmm. All right, 10-year starter, but not good enough to be a perennial Pro Bowler or an All-Pro. Somebody that you can draft and is going to be for sure in your starting lineup. Brian, I'll let you start.
TJ Tuimoloau from Ohio State.
What's his name?
Oh, JTT? You're taking my guy.
Tuimoloau.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay.
I thought I said it right.
That last one, you got it. Yeah.
Tuimoloau. Right?
Oh, so there's
I don't know if you said it right. I just wanted you to say it again. I don't know how to say it either. I just wanted you to say it again. But go ahead.
Tuimoloau.
Tuimoloau.
Got it.
Yeah, we got it. We'll figure it out. This guy's going to play. He's going to play a long time in this league because he's a guy that when you look at him at Ohio State, he played a lot in college.
Steady.
He's a very steady player. There's nothing really spectacular about his game. He plays the run. He could get you occasional pass. You can line him up in all different spots right there. This kid has never missed a game in his college career. He is going to come into the league. He's going to have the same kind of work ethic. He's going to be productive. You're going to love him. He's never going to be probably good enough to be a Pro Bowl guy, but you're going to love him on your defensive line.
JTT. What do you think, Foch?
Gray Zabel from North Dakota State.
As a center?
Let's go.
As an everything, and that's why he's going to be in the league.
As an everything. He's playing all positions at one time.
We just wake up one day and we see these offensive linemen like, oh, Cody Ford's playing guard for the Bengals now. Like, when that happened, right? I think Gray Zabel's going to be one of those guys. Like, he's probably going to be a guard for somebody. He's going to go to another school, another team, and be like, oh, well, can you play center for us? Fine. And I think in one pinch he'll probably play tackle for somebody. Because he's on film playing everything, and I have a ton of confidence that he has great film everywhere. Some dudes just play everywhere, but they play it just to be playing everywhere. I think Gray Zabel has fantastic film. I say pretty good film. I don't want to say fantastic. He has pretty good film everywhere, and he went to the Senior Bowl and had some pretty good Senior Bowl practice lining up everywhere. I think that's worth being a 10-year dude for somebody.
Okay. I'm going to go with Caleb Johnson, running back from Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's going to be a Pro Bowler.
He might be a Pro Bowler, but I just don't know if I can see. And it's tough with running back because if you are going to be in the league for 10 years as a running back, you're probably going to make a Pro Bowl or two. Yeah. But one of the more decorated running backs in Iowa program history. He had 1,500 rushing yards and 21 touchdowns in his final season, led the Big Ten in both of those categories, but it was the 6.5 yards per carry. Mm-hmm. You talk about explosive first step, smart, durable runner. The durable is where I'm putting 10 years of his career together. He's got a wide base, allows for the good balance and ability to break tackles at the second level, gets to the second level first, and the vision and timing as he waits for those blocks to develop is all very fantastic. Good red zone runner, which means even if he does lose a step 8-9 years down the line, I still think he's a guy that could be in the mix. So I know it's kind of risky to take a running back and place a 10-year tag on him. But I think if there was a guy that could do it and is going to outlast the rest of the running backs in this class, I think Caleb Johnson's the guy to do that.
Well, Brian poached my guy, JTT, who is better than Captain Jack Sawyer's teammate, by the way. I'll fight you, John Owning. I know you're watching. I'll fight you. JTT is a better all-around player. He's going to be a better NFL player than his teammate there.
Why do you hate Sawyer?
He said it again.
I don't hate Sawyer. I don't hate Sawyer. JTT is one of the guys that's being slept on in this year's draft. Like very Marshawn Nealon-like to me. Like, is he ever going to be a double-digit sack guy? I don't know, but I feel that he's going to be good for a long, long time in the NFL.
You feel good about Marshawn Nealon? That's good to hear.
I do now, yeah, I do. Wyatt Milam. Let's go Wyatt Milam out of West Virginia.
Okay.
Started 32 of 36 games, including 31 in a row. Iron Mountaineer Award. Did not allow a sack or quarterback hit in his junior season in 2023. He's played right tackle as a freshman, moved to left tackle. He played defensive tackle in high school. So he's got a little bit of that defensive mentality as well. I like this guy. I think he can pull around the edge. He's impressive, I thought, against Abdul Carter in the opener. I think he can play tackle if you need him to, but he's ideally a guard. I like him in a phone booth working combo blocks with the tackler or the center. I think he's a clean player, and he showed a tremendous amount of consistency on tape. Strong upper body, smooth lateral movement. I think he can sink his hips, play with good pad level. He does play with braces, right? 2 big old braces on those knees. Oh, yeah. But who the hell's not these days? I feel like every one of these offensive linemen you're watching, they're
I'm looking at Cincinnati right now, and there's not a single person on the offense.
Yeah, they're all wearing these big old braces.
No, none of them had a brace.
Oh, Cincinnati. Well, that's why their offensive line's bad.
Because they cheap.
Yep, probably.
Spend some money on them damn braces.
Yeah, go ahead. Get those braces. But he's a finisher. And I like that when it comes to a dude like Wyatt Milam. He's got some meanness to his game.
Okay, that's a good one. Any honorable mentions of this group that we've kind of been thinking out? Somebody that you might have wanted to talk about but didn't get a chance to just before we close out?
Yeah, I've got one for you, too, if I could. Yeah. I want to talk about this young man because let me get to him, though, because I think Xavier Watts, the safety from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It's a good one, too.
He get picks, too.
Yeah, Notre Dame, all of a sudden, their defense and what they've been able to do, the playoff run they have, Xavier Watts is a big part of that. He is a right time. He's at the right time kind of a player. He's always in position. He gets turnovers. This guy was a converted wide receiver. That's just, I think his best football is ahead of him playing safety. I wouldn't call him an elite athlete, but he moves and he runs well. He really trusts his eyes in the way he plays, and you can tell that's the way he does. I think he's going to play in the league for a long, long time. Xavier Watts, Notre Dame.
That's a good one.
High IQ player. Yeah, I put in my notes, I'm not sure how you can dislike this guy when you watch Xavier Watts play.
He competes. He's tough.
He's awesome.
Yeah,
he really
is. Player. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Zach just likes guys that play in cornfields because I know Notre Dame's not in a cornfield, but he's from Omaha.
Well, hey,
he's from Omaha.
I do like me some Nebraska as well. Go Big Red.
Okay.
How about Alfred Collins, defensive tackle from Texas? Okay. All right, we're talking a lot about these defensive tackles, and Alfred Collins' name is not getting mentioned enough. Fifth-year senior, led all Texas D linemen with 7 pass breakups.
He had a rep in that Georgia game.
Yeah.
And I've said it before, and I know it's crazy. I don't want to compare him to this guy because this is elite level play, but he has flashes of Chris Jones to me when I watch him play. I love Alfred Collins. Technically sound, second round 44, I'd take him there. And I think he's better than TJ Sanders. I think he's better than Deion Walker. To me, I like him more than Walter Nolan. I do, personally. But he's disruptive. He can push the pocket, work stunts well, shock and shed, gets off blocks. But he's great in the run game. Yeah. I mean, to me, this is a one-tech that is also going to give you really good pass rush ability. So he is going to shut down the run, can take on double teams. He can improve his finish. Like he's a guy that does have some warts to his game. He's not perfect by any means, or else I'd advocate him for 12. But I love Alfred Collins, and in a really stacked defensive tackle draft, he's a guy that I'll stand on the table for, and I'll fight for Alfred Collins.
And you might be on that island alone there.
It's fine with me.
Yeah, go for it. Jordan Phillips, I think, is a better player from Maryland. And I also feel like that C.J. West from Indiana is a better player.
Ooh, I saw both of them live in Shrine Bowl with you, Vach, but I would disagree on both of those.
Tyleik Williams, Ohio State.
I like Tyleik a lot.
Tyleik Williams is a bad boy, sir.
Yeah, he's good.
Don't you run your mouth.
I've got Tyleik and Alfred right
330, and he moves like a gazelle.
They're both right there in the second round for me.
Well, Tyleik Williams is the guy that I'm going to go with. And, he's not a guy that just does one thing, but he's bad at another thing. He's powerful, strong, and he moves like great effort, great movement for his size. I think he has a really good first step.
What's the thing Collins is bad at?
Alfred Collins?
Yeah.
I don't think Collins is a complete player just yet. I think he's really athletic. I think he can be a consistent run player sometimes, but I think sometimes he gets lost in the fight.
Man, there's no question. You see him losing the ball.
Like he'll get engaged with an offensive lineman, and it becomes me fighting this offensive lineman. But
I think you guys get your eyes checked.
But he forgets the fundamental things, and I think he has the upside to be a really good pass rusher from the inside, but he doesn't really have the hands and the tool belt just yet. But he's a ball of clay-ish, really good athlete, one tech guy. So I like him though.
Would you have trouble with 44?
Yeah, I have a problem with 44.
You would have a problem.
Yeah, because and this goes back to our Nolan.
He's around there.
So I got Collins in the 4th round, and that's all right.
Wow.
So these are the guys I got.
I mean, I had him in the second.
These are the guys I got better than Collins: Graham, Grant, Williams, Harmon, Nolan, T.J. Sanders.
T.J. Sanders not better.
Darius Alexander.
I like Darius Alexander.
Toledo, Norman Lott, C.J. West, Jordan Phillips, and I got Deion Walker. I might switch Deion Walker out there because he's looking a little lazy right now.
I'm halfway with
like Tyleek Williams. Williams lacks consistency. You want Tyleek?
This is my problem with you saying that he lacks consistency.
He does.
This is my problem with you saying that because you love Derek Harmon, right? And I went back and did a deep dive on Harmon, and I think his best game was like Boise or something like that. He was going out there beating the hell out the Boise State kids. But I thought
State was pretty damn good too.
Sure. I thought he fell off a little bit versus some of the better guys, right? I didn't think Tyleek fell off at all. And this is versus Texas, Penn State, Michigan. This is versus Tennessee, Notre Dame. I don't think Tyleek Williams
the playoff he stood out.
I don't think he had
a
horrible
but if you watch
game
him before
versus
the playoff, if you watch him before the playoff, which is what I did because I'd seen him before the playoff started, he definitely is a guy that I thought had some consistency issues with his game. I want to see him put together more consistency. I think he's a flash player, is what I put in my notes.
Williams a flash player?
Hey,
you love Derek Harmon?
Jack Sawyer ascended in the playoff, which is hey, there's something to be said about that, right?
Yeah.
Big time games. But I think some of the stuff you're knocking Alfred Collins for, I could go ahead and pick apart Tyleek Williams too, if that's what we want to do here.
Go ahead. That's what the show's about.
Brian, hold on. Me and Woodchuck fight. I think Tyleek Williams beat the hell out of all the Michigan kids, out of all the Penn State kids that he ran, even the Oregon guys, right? Like he ran into them. And
Alfred Collins was beating the hell out of Georgia both times they played. Did it against Ohio State in the playoff as well.
He got knocked around against Georgia in that game. Zach.
Oh no,
the first one or the second one?
The first one. He got knocked around a little bit. His body control.
The whole Texas team had a.
He played better against A&M than he did. He
had a great game against A&M.
He played better
against
A&M than against Georgia for sure.
I'll just say this. I think Williams is the face of like play in, play out, game in, game out consistency. And he's the 300 and I think he looks 340. And he
does look big.
And he's not just doing the A-gap stuff. Like if they're running sweeps and outside zone, he's hightailing his 330 ass over there to the outside zone.
He's that one tech that can also give you all that wiggle that you want. I like Tyleek Williams.
Yeah, he's my third guy after Grant.
But I don't think there's a big drop off between him and Alfred Collins at all.
Well, I actually have them touching tags. I have Williams ahead of Collins, but they're right there for me.
Brian, where you got it? Because I just see you shaking your head.
No, we're running out of time. I'm with you on this one, though, Voch. I'm running.
So you have him further down?
Oh, much further down.
Where do you have him?
Yeah, I have him in the 4th round.
Wow,
myself.
okay.
Yeah,
Collins going to.
Where do you have Tyleek Williams?
I have in the. Let's see where I have Tyleek Williams. I think I had him in the 2nd round.
You should have him in the 2nd.
I had him in the 2nd. Grant, Williams, Harmon were my 3 second round.
Where do you have T.J. Sanders?
In the 3rd.
3rd round?
I got Sanders in the 3rd.
Yeah, I got Sanders in the 3rd.
Sanders, Norman Lott, hyphenated name there, and then Alexander in the 3rd.
Alexander, what round you got?
3rd.
Yeah. I got him in 3.
I haven't watched Alexander yet.
He's a bad boy.
Alexander's really good.
From Toledo, right?
Yeah. He's
going to go a lot higher than
he was a Senior Bowl guy.
He was.
But I didn't.
His tape from Toledo.
Okay, Alexander and Norman Lott. Who do you like more there?
Norman Lott right now.
I've got Norman Lott over Alexander.
Yeah. I have Norman Lott. Pardon me, I got to. Okay, Norman Lott. I got Norman Lott. I got Norman. So, see, this is my thing, right? Norman Lott is the bona fide pass rush guy.
Yeah, he is.
Alexander does everything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of like Alexander a little more.
So I want Alexander over Norman Lott, but Norman Lott does what the league wants, which is the pass rushy thing. So I'm going to probably just flip-flop him, but I got Alexander over Norman Lott right now.
Let's go. Yes.
But this is a fluid board. I will change it whenever I feel so.
And we see eye to eye on Alexander, though.
Alexander tough.
That's a great point, though. Remember, when you're building the boards at home and you're taking notes and you're watching this show and you're thinking about everything, things will change. There's still 65 days to the NFL draft. It's all going to be fluid. It's all going to change. We may come back in a month and a half, and Zach's going to have Tyleik Williams over Alfred
He might end up being my number one defensive tackle. Who knows?
We'll figure it out along the way. But that's what's fun about this whole thing. All right, that does it for us here on the Draft Show. 65 days, as I said, from the NFL Draft. We'll be back on Thursday to continue breaking it down for you. We're going to talk to some assistant coaches, maybe get a better idea of how this board's starting to come together momentarily. I wonder if anybody's asking draft questions. I hope Bobby's over there asking all the draft questions.
Of course he is.
We'll see. For Brian Broaddus, for Vach Lombardi, Zach Wolchuk, Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the Draft Show. We'll see you on Thursday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!